Alrighty, everybody. Just give me 1 second as I continue to get ready for the stream. Hope everyone is doing well today. Let me just prepare a little bit more and we'll get the stream started. Got some people in live stream. Go Shakhtar. Shout out to Shakhtar for winning their game today against Monaco. Let's see here. Just want to make sure we're good. Everything that we need. Yeah. A little bit of ESPN as well, just to get that out there. Got the Celtics trying to put up their 19th banner or 18th banner up today in the Summer League game. Give me 1 second, everybody. Alrighty, we are ready to start this show. So, with that being said, welcome everybody to The Charge, bringing the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. I hope everyone's doing well today on this Tuesday afternoon. Obviously, local time, Pacific Standard Time, is, of course, 4:57. Stream is going to start, I said around 5 o'clock, but I just decided to start a little bit early. But nevertheless, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We obviously got the NBA schedule released. We got Joel Embiid signing a max extension. We got the Celtics making some moves that we got to talk about. And just a bunch of other different types of moves out here as well. Summer League game, obviously, tonight with the Celtics playing the Kings for the championship. So we'll see how that game goes. So just give me 1 second. Just kind of check on something really quick. Alrighty. So I'm going to bring my boy Tyrese on. He decided he wanted to come on today to talk some Celtics news, but we're also going to talk about other things as well. So let me just invite him and start the call. Then you guys will be able to hear him in a second. Hey, what's up, Tyrese? Not much. How you doing, man? Alrighty, and now we are live officially. They should be able to hear you guys. And before we get started on today's episode of The Charge, remember to please hit that like, share, and subscribe button, guys. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers. We're less than, we're getting close, right? We're getting really close to that 1,000 subscriber mark. We're trying to get that goal by Christmas. So if you guys know anybody that's interested in NBA news and rumors or basketball opinions, please bring them over to my channel. We talk all types of sports as well, kind of like off just basketball specifically, but we talk other sports as well on the side. But today, obviously, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So without further ado, the only thing we just have left to do is talk about the merchandise. Guys, there is merch if you are interested in buying merch. There is, I think there's a little bit of a wait time with it, so just be patient, and the merch will be there. But without further ado, Tyrese, we got a lot to talk about today. I know it's been a minute since you've been on the channel, and I know a lot of things have happened since then. But with that being said, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well, man. Everything's going good. I'm getting ready for the semester. Starts on Thursday, so yeah, everything's good though. What about yourself?
Not too bad. Just getting ready for school. Getting started very soon. I work at a high school, so it's gonna be it's gonna be some interesting interesting times. I'm sure you remember those days very well.
Oh yeah.
Obviously I'm dealing with freshmen this year, so we'll see how that goes.
You're dealing with the little ones coming in, huh?
Yep, it's gonna be the little ones this time around. So we'll see how they perform and just kind of how they adjust to school now that's we're in a different atmosphere at this moment. But another person that's also in a different atmosphere is, of course, Dennis Schroeder. obviously,
Mhm.
we didn't talk about it too much, but Dennis Schroeder did officially sign for a $5.9 million contract. This was something that he kind of bet against himself in this aspect, where he thought that he could be worth over $100 million. That ended up not being correct, and he ended up getting a small time deal, hopefully, kind of to recuperate some of that money. But in terms of fit for the Celtics, what do you make of Dennis Schroeder on the team?
I actually like it, and I'm really bullish on him being on the Celtics. I think it's going to go very well. Even though some people do say he's very ball dominant, I think we've needed a point guard that can drive to the paint and draw contact. We haven't had that, and he can create a lot of shots for the Jays, I think, such as with his attacking to the paint, and he can
Mm-hmm.
kick out and such. I think it's going to be very good for us. I think it's going to be the best thing we probably had since Isaiah Thomas when he was in his prime, getting
Mm-hmm.
open shots for guys, driving
Yeah.
to the paint, being aggressive. In my opinion, what is your opinion on it?
I'm kind of indifferent about it. I think, what I saw from the Lakers was that they kind of I think he could actually be a very good asset for us in the way that you're saying, like, a point guard that, although is small, can get to the bucket, can score around the rim. My
Mhm.
only concern is, what is his expectation of the season? Like, does he expect to be a starter? Does he expect to come off the bench? Because that was the
Mhm.
big thing for him as a Laker. Because for the past couple of years before he was a Laker, he was like a sixth man. He would come off the bench. His best years
Yep.
were with Chris Paul in Oklahoma City. And my concern about him is that I feel like he might regress in a little bit. Um,
Hmm.
I think that's the reason why is because, for a guy that's trying to get, this is him trying to get one more chance at a big contract because he already messed up not accepting that extension offer from the Lakers. For whatever reason, he just kind of just went that way. It is what it
Mhm.
is. But if I'm him, I'm looking at this as an opportunity to get my numbers up so I can get a bigger contract this next coming season. But to me,
Yeah.
I'm worried that he's gonna like drive us away from like what we're trying to achieve this year, which I think is just building on,
Really.
trying to get better each and every game and try to at least be competitive. I don't know. I'm kind of bearish on him, just
Mhm.
due to the fact that I think that he, although has some very positive plays, he can do some very positive things, and I'm rooting for him. My only
Mhm.
concern is because he's trying to get that big contract now because he messed up, that it's going to affect us in that manner.
Honestly, man, I think he's going to be very well for us. I mean, this is the tallest point guard we had at 6'3". When's the last time we had a 6'3" point guard? And I think he's going to be the starting point guard. I think he's more talented than Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart's always going to be our backup point guard. He's just not that type of he's he's never going to be a starting point guard in this league. He's always going to have that six-man role. So I think Dennis Schroeder come game 1. Who are we playing? I
We're
think
playing
we're
the Knicks.
playing.
Knicks
Yeah, we're
game
playing the
one.
Knicks. Yeah, come game 1. I think Dennis is starting for us, and he's gonna start for us. I think going forward. Um, as far as him digressing, I think he's gonna do very well. I mean, the guy's always averaged pretty much 16 points. The only hiccups he
Mhm.
had was, playing with LeBron in the playoffs last year, which is, there's been players where they don't perform as well because things aren't going as well on the team, and LeBron starts, panicking and yelling, and
Mhm.
it's LeBron James at the end of the day, so you're like, shit, will I get traded? So I think Dennis is gonna be fine. I'm not making nothing of it as a lot of people are, as far as saying, oh, oh, blah blah blah. Like, I think this is gonna really shut a lot of people up, and I think he's
Mhm.
gonna come back and get a 85 to maybe $100+ million deal. I wouldn't be shocked if he averages like 18, 19 a game.
See, like I want to have that type of confidence in the Celtics right now, but I think obviously tonight they're playing for the Summer League championship, and I
Hmm.
feel like that's kind of where we're at right now with this team. At least to
Yeah.
me, like what I'm concerned with is basically just kind of the small things. We got to deal with this sort of situation at hand where we have Peyton Pritchard,
Hmm.
Naismith, Romeo Langford's looking pretty good in the summer league. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I think people have said it. Summer league is a hell of a drug. Like you look at summer
Yeah.
league, the way that it's played, the way that kind of the whole kind of ISO ball, not really playing together as a team. I think this will help the Celtics a little bit in terms of like for summer league per se, just due to the fact that it's a bunch of our role players playing in this championship game. But in terms of next season, where we have guys like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and now we're gonna have Dennis Schroeder. Marcus Smart signed his new deal. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show. Like I said, my biggest concern is, does Dennis Schroeder take minutes or those type of opportunities away from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, because those guys are trying to get all NBA right now. They're trying to get their stats up.
I mean, if you really think about it, he knows how to play his role. I mean, the guy played with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. So it's like he knows how to play his role. He knows how to get guys started. It's just he had a bad series. I mean, for whatever reason, who knows what he was going through during that that run. He could have been going through something crazy. We don't know. But I think he's going to be fine come season. So I'm not making too much of it. Now, we're gonna get a little bit into this later in the show, but is Marcus Smart? But I don't make a thing of Smart taking his role just because Smart's out of shape, man. Like he's not the same as he was 5 years ago. I hope they embedded the weight clause in his contract because they did that. I think his first one, it was like a $600,000 bonus because man, he's just not the same anymore, and it's I think if Dennis Schroeder, as I think he's going to do, redeem himself, I think Smart's gone. I think that was the only reason of them signing Smart to that generous deal, because they're already probably thinking of moving him next year or maybe the All-Star break, depending on how Dennis plays, and how he's holding up health-wise.
Yeah, and before we kind of continue talking about this, I do want to make a quick editorial note for a trade or like a sign that we did earlier in the season, or I guess earlier in this off season, was that the Knicks acquired Evan Fournier from the Celtics, and this is of course via a sign and trade. So that means that in the sign and trade, the Celtics, they are officially requiring
the TPE.
Trade exception, 2 future second round picks.
Pick for $17 million.
Yep, $17 million. So that's good.
But it can't be used until 2022 when we have the majority of more cap, I believe.
Yeah, so that's kind of the update to that editorial note. But to kind of go back to your point about Dennis Schroeder, like I said, I do like the fact that we're adding a point guard that I feel like is a lot better than Kemba Walker at this point. I know Kemba and Tom Thibodeau are kind of having their love affair right now in New York, but I do think it's a better fit for us. My only question, my only concern, like I talked about earlier, is just, does he take away kind of the stats from the other guys? Because, I think guys like Romeo Langford, and for better or for worse, whether we like them or not, those guys are going to need their touches. Those guys are going to need their shots and opportunities. And I just want to make sure that those guys are getting it from Dennis Schroeder, and that Dennis Schroeder is not taking those opportunities away from those guys. Because like I said, if we want to even contend for a championship, which we won't this year, I don't think, in my opinion, but if we want to at least be competitive in the playoffs, we have to not have Dennis Schroeder take all those type of touches away from those guys. They're getting them tonight, and we'll see how those guys kind of perform under George Hill as the G League as coach, or the Summer League head coach.
And I think it's honestly a good thing these guys are getting the spotlight, and because these guys, we have to ship them out, man. Like, this is the best thing that can happen for us, because let's face it, Carson Edwards, we couldn't move him. Like, who would want him? But now he's he's showing some life, and maybe somebody will want him. Maybe we might be able to trade these guys and package maybe somebody else and send them out before the season starts, because they're just not gonna do anything for us, man. Like we're kind of just, sitting
in mediocrity, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Romeo Langford had a cool little dunk or two little dunks, Carson, but Pritchard looks very good.
I've always to kind of go on that point, I think Pritchard's been probably the best Celtic so far. And I always kind of, I kind of met the guy in Oregon. So it's kind of cool to get to know him a little bit early before he kind of blew up in that sense. But he, to me, he always kind of seemed to be like a guy that could definitely hang on a roster, could definitely make some great plays.
Crazy work ethic too. Crazy work ethic. He never gets in trouble. You never hear anything about him. He just
No
he sticks
marijuana
to his
possession.
craft. No
No.
marijuana possessions or anything with the fans. Like those are the kind of players we need in the room. We don't need guys who are like a Marcus Smart throwing chairs and yelling at our staff, because that's not a good look. That makes a lot of free agents not want to come because of Marcus Smart.
Exactly.
They don't want. If I was a free agent, I wouldn't want to come because look at this guy. And you guys are saying he guy's a heartbeat. This guy's a heartbeat. Oh no.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where Marcus Smart is at this point. I think, for better or for worse, we're kind of stuck with him, and we're just gonna have to deal with him as kind of our backup point guard. In my opinion, I agree with you there. A guy that can come off the bench and just kind of do his thing. But I do think that this contract was an opportunity, and I talked to my boy Pete, who will be on Thursday. We'll talk about more, do our tier list together. But, kind of talking about Marcus Smart's contract, to me, it's a very team-friendly and also trade-friendly type of contract, to where you could potentially get a superstar in the future along with the TPE. And then you kind of maybe you can make some magic happen in that aspect, where it's like, okay, now we can get that third superstar. And kind of have that be our bread and butter, or we can even try and get some sign and trades with some bench players, so we actually can fill out the bench a little bit more and get some great pieces in return. And we can kind of move on to the contract now. Marcus Smart agreed to a 4-year, $77 million deal. This deal is the maximum that Marcus Smart could sign for. His deal begins in 2022-2023 season. Includes a trade kicker. But there's no player option. So
that's sounding like a trade potentially in the future.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna make moves in the next coming year. I think we talked about it before, Tyrese. Like, we're obviously not in the sweepstakes for this year's free agency market, because I think obviously this was kind of a weak. I would say it's a little bit of a weaker free agency class, but I think next year and the year after that, we're gonna have some pretty good prospects coming up in the trade, and then also with potentially draft picks as well. Not that we have any, but unless we kind of suck it up, which I don't think is going to happen to the point where we could get some of the top guys. But I do think that this is a great deal in terms of if we use it to trade for trade assets. But the problem with me kind of believing that is the same reason why I'm having trouble, with the first time when we had all those draft picks. It's the same sort of situation I'm getting here, where it's like, can I really trust the Celtics front office organization to make those moves, to move those assets, aka Marcus Smart, to get the pieces that we need to move on to the future?
Something cut out.
I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I just said...
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I don't know if you heard what I said, but basically I just said, I'm not sure if we can kind of move Marcus Smart to get future trade assets, because I'm just concerned about that, in my opinion.
Well, see, the thing is, Wick, I think... Wick Grosbeck and, his partner, I think they're very Marcus Smart fans, so I think it would be very hard for them to trade Marcus Smart. It's almost to like the Kawhi Leonard and Popovich style, to be honest. It would have to be for something very good that's obvious we should do, but knowing Wick and how he's cheap and how he doesn't like to pay players, besides if they're, flashy and can dance and dribble and, if they have a great background going for them, like, Tristan Thompson, it's going to be very tough to move him. Not for the simple fact no team would want him. I think it's just the owners and, the fan base would be very, not happy with that, but we'll see. But I think it's a very friendly contract, $77 million. The player option is a little bit of it's kind of like
well, there's no player option.
Oh yeah, there's no player option, so it's kind of like this is it. Like this is it. Like if we don't trade you, this is it. After these 4 years, we're done with you. That's how it's kind of seemed to me. Because he'll be 33?
Yeah, I think he'll be 33, 34. I mean, he'll be old, and it's kind of we've had him for such a long time at this point. My only concern and my only thing about what I'm seeing here from kind of like Celtics fans and kind of reading the Twitter and just kind of going through that. Obviously, Twitter is such a small sample size, so everybody just kind of relax when it comes to Boston Twitter, just NBA Twitter in general, because it's not a majority of the people. But nevertheless, I think a lot of us are kind of split into two camps. There's half of the people that want to keep Marcus Smart, that think he's one of the loyal ones. He kind of, we talk about Shams kind of bringing up the point that he has been with this and has made the playoffs, the 7 of the 8 years or however long he's been in the league. We've been in the playoffs.
You got to realize too, the Boston fans, those people would go crazy. We're not from Boston, so it's just like, we don't like how he plays, but if you see those fans in the stands, if they seen that he's getting traded, oh man, I don't know what it would be like. That's like their Draymond Green.
Yeah.
In their eyes. Like, he's the heartbeat. I don't know, man. Like, I would want him gone, but just knowing how, Wick and management and from a ticket standpoint, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be hard because, you're looking at a situation when it comes to a guy like Marcus Smart, like you talked about, the heart and soul of Boston. Like, everybody in Boston loves the guy. But I think we have
to be whatever reason why.
Well, I mean, I could see it. A guy that hustles, a guy that dives for loose balls. Obviously, more so in his younger days. Now it's a little bit less, but still provides that hustle, provides those sparks, those kind of plays that you can't measure in analytics and stuff like that. So I get the appeal of a guy like Marcus Smart, but the problem is that we don't have the other pieces to surround, the Tatums or the Jays, as you like to refer to them. And also, kind of keep Marcus Smart as well, as kind of like that Draymond Green role type of player. And to me, like, because of that situation, it's hard for the Celtics to kind of get over the fact that now they're kind of stuck with those three guys, but without the other role players to help them. Because, we can talk about, Clay, Curry, and Green, and how, like, if you have those three, you're going to be a playoff contending team. But when it comes to the Celtics, obviously it's a little bit different because you're playing in a different conference. I know that, we can talk about the West versus the East, but I think that it's just different with the way that, I just feel like Jason Tatum is still growing and maturing as a player. Jaylen Brown, I'm not sure where his ceiling or his floor is at this point. It could potentially be higher, or it could potentially be where it's at from last year. And, with Marcus Smart, I think you get what you get with him. And so, unfortunately for Marcus Smart, like, if he was like more of a power forward or a small forward, I think it'd be a little bit easier for us. But because he's kind of the shooting guard, point guard type of player, it's just hard to kind of justify paying him that much while also kind of struggling to, get us into that top 4 seed, where I feel like we're going to have a little bit of trouble doing that.
Yeah, I agree. I just think he's too small for, he used to be very good, but it's just, he just doesn't fit our system, man. And who knows what our system's going to look like now with MA and his new staff. So we just going to have to wait and see, man. But how it's looking, he just doesn't seem like a fit for us. Like, sometimes he can hit 4 threes in a row, but sometimes he can miss 7 in a row afterwards and really kill us. So it's like, I don't know if he'll really understand his role more than he even did with Brad, because he wasn't even playing his role with Brad these last 2-3 years. So it's like, I don't know, man.
The one thing I am curious about is whether or not, MA can kind of get the best of him in terms of kind of letting him know, like, okay, these are not the shots that we should be taking. Like, we should really be focusing on, getting to a point where we're taking better shots, maybe not as chaotic. And, I do think that MA has a bit of more of a backbone than I feel like Brad Stevens does.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Just the culture-wise.
So I definitely can see that. So I'm curious to know, like, when, MA and Marcus Smart are at practice, obviously it's going on right now, whether or not we're seeing, like, a big culture shock for a guy like Marcus Smart. He signed his deal, and I'm wondering too, like, did MA kind of say, in his thing, or kind of like in his kind of team meeting before they kind of started practice for the first time, and talking to Marcus Smart, like, in order for you to sign this extension, we need you to take less shots. We need you to be more of a team player and to kind of be a little bit more less chaotic when it comes to shooting the basketball, because although we do need those playmaking abilities, it also takes away from the offense and gets us into situations where now we're transitioning, which is not our strongest suit. Transition defense, I don't think it's our strongest suit.
Yeah, I agree. What was I going to say? Yeah, I agree. I think he could potentially, play his role that could have been discussed in the contract. Who knows? But we're just going to have to wait and see, man. Like, I can still see him taking those shots even though he got paid. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just can't see him signing that deal, trimming 20 pounds and locking up, diving. I just can't see that. I hope I'm wrong, but mm-hmm. I just can't see that, man. Like, he would have done that 2 years ago when he wasn't up for an extension, or he wasn't a free agent next year or 2 years later. Like, I don't know. And another thing is, I'm curious how him and Dennis Schroeder are going to be, because I know Dennis Schroeder sometimes can be a little smart addict, and I know Marcus Smart can sometimes pick on the sidelines with some of his teammates and get in little confrontations, specifically with Jaylen Brown throughout the year. Sometimes I've seen. So I'm curious how I'm curious how that's going to be with Dennis.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like that's also something that concerns me as well, is like when you think about it, we also have a guy in Marcus Smart that's been confrontational with Brown, and really push and really challenge Brown as a man, I would say, in a sense of like, if you're the second best player, you got to step up in that aspect. And
you got to show me,
And I think he did do that last year. We talked about, before the wrist injury, I think he definitely did that. We talked about him kind of being like an all-star, kind of all NBA type of player. We were kind of questioning of whether or not, he could be in that aspect. And, he's kind of proven it so far. I want to see another year of it before I'm like totally convinced with Brown. But, like we talked about, Marcus Smart has challenged him.
I think Jaylen Brown, I think he just gets tired of hearing him, because I've noticed sometimes on the sideline, Marcus Smart will try to be talking to him and coaching him, and I think Brown just doesn't want to hear it. He's like, dude, I'm way more talented than you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to be taking guidance from you. Like, you should be doing that your damn self. And I feel like if Smart wasn't on the team, I think Jaylen Brown it would be more happier for him, Because Smart sometimes acts like he's the big dog, like, oh, Jason, you got to do this, like, cut, do this. Like, dude, you're not even doing that.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I can see that. My biggest thing. What's up, Justin? How you doing, man? I know you're still ecstatic about your Bulls, man. We're definitely going to talk about that with my boy Pete on Thursday. We're going to put them in the tier list, and we'll let you know where they land in that aspect. But to kind of go back to your point, I do think that they are tired of hearing it. I think Marcus Smart is tired of hearing about it, or I should say Jaylen Brown is tired of hearing.
Jaylen Brown, he's tired of hearing Marcus Smart, because it's like, and Jason Tatum, I wouldn't be shocked. Like, they love him as a person, but it's just like, dude, we don't need your guidance. Like, we're averaging 25, like, way more efficient, and you're trying to tell us what to do. I think that just doesn't sit well with him sometimes.
Yeah, but I also think you do need a guy like that on the team. Like, I know that we can criticize, Marcus Smart for taking those shots, but the problem is that I don't feel like Jason Tatum, or that for that matter, Jaylen Brown, are kind of leaders in that aspect where they're kind of like bravado, kind of yelling at the team. They're more so going to be like, they're going to be more guys that are going to do it on the court and don't really do it like, during the TV timeouts and
that's because huddle. Smart's there. If Smart wasn't there, then I think he would be. I think they would be way more vocal. I just think they don't want to get in a confrontation with Smart. Like, to say like, oh, what do you, you know what I'm saying? Because I honestly think Jaylen Brown would be more vocal if Smart wasn't there.
I want to believe that, but like from all the years that I've seen those two guys, I just feel like they're not leaders in that aspect. Like I think that they're great players. I think they can lead by example. They can lead by their play because obviously you want to follow the best player on your team. But in terms of guys that command presence on the team, I just feel like Marcus Smart does that. And for as much as I'm hoping that he does get traded. We are gonna miss that if he does get traded. Because like I know you can say that those two guys could fill that role. But when you haven't done it for when it hasn't been a habit for you these last couple of years, it's just hard to get into that habit, and that's where I'm kind of worried about.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember as well. We have Marcus Morris too, so it's like you got two goons on the team. Then you got this third-year player at the time and a rookie. You're not gonna have the most vocal second or third-year guy.
Yeah.
I think Jaylen Brown would like to be like that, but it's just like. You don't want Marcus Smart throwing a chair at me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel it. But yeah, let us know in the comment section. What do you guys think of these Celtics news and rumors? Well, obviously they're news, so it's not really rumors at this point now. Obviously the signing of Marcus Smart for a 4-year extension, and then also the signing of Dennis Schroeder for a 1-year TPE deal. So let us know in the comment section. Let us know what you guys think of this whole situation.
What do you think of Aaron Nesmith in the Summer League? He's looking pretty good, huh?
He's looking good, but you know what they say, Summer League's a hell of a drug. And I just think that when you kind of pick when you have that, and then we got Peyton Pritchard dropping 92 in a Pro-Am league, and then you got like I said, Romeo Langford dunking on people now.
Dunking back to back. It's like, is this really real?
And that's the thing. Like, is it really real? And like, can you really believe that these are going to be the guys doing this the next year? Because obviously they're playing against a lot of guys that are hungry for their first NBA contract, rookies that are trying to prove themselves in the league. Like, you're not really playing against the veterans at this point, maybe except for a couple of guys here and there, just due to the fact that they're trying to get back into the league.
Like Michael Beasley.
Michael Beasley's on there.
Pride, whatever his name is, Fareed.
Yeah, Kenneth Fareed I saw there as well. It's just like that's where it's really for. And right now I just can't really believe what I'm watching on the Summer League circuit at this point. I would love for the Celtics to obviously win that Summer League trophy, but at the same time, maybe it can count towards our make it the 18th banner that we can put
up. At least though it hires their stock, because man, there's especially Carson Edwards, the Chipotle King, and him and Romeo. Dude, their stock was so low. It was damn near like we were better off releasing them. But now, at least, like, especially if we win tonight, maybe we can try to trade them before, or maybe at the All-Star break, showing some flashes. Because, man, like, they just don't fit the squad, man. They're just too small. Romeo just doesn't have no motor. He just looks like he doesn't even want to play basketball sometimes, dude. Or I'll say 95% of the time. Like, even in his interviews, he's just slouched, like, I had to play pretty much. Like, he just doesn't seem like no dogs we had from the 08 season, or, dogs you would normally have like the Bucks had with Bobby and PJ. We don't have none of those guys, man, like off the bench.
Yeah, and I don't think we ever will until there's some trades or guys that we can get on the cheap for signings, and that's just something we're gonna have to deal with at this point in time. We're still waiting for those type of guys. Like I said, I would love for it to be not Marcus, but I love for it to be Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, or even get a guy like Aaron Nesmith. But I just don't think that's gonna be. We don't really have that besides Marcus Smart, for better or for worse. It's just that.
And it's like, dude, what's really scaring me as well is we don't have a center. Like, Al Horford? What? He's like, 36 now, 6'9". Like, he can't go against him. I mean, we don't need an Embiid stopper, but we need a body. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. It just looks like we're going to be relying on the Jays a lot to score 25 a game. Dennis does his thing, but we're just going to be out-rebounded again and lose to these bigger teams.
Yeah, I'm just hoping my only hope is that, like, our guys in terms of, like, Robert Williams are staying healthy and just kind of doing their thing in that aspect. Because if they're not healthy and we're still, struggling, it's going to be a bad time. And so we'll see.
And
We'll
I
see what
think we should have
happens.
kept Moses Brown, man. Like,
I told you, man. Like,
yeah.
to me, it's like I would have rather kept him. Kind of deal with what we got so far.
I would have traded Rob, to be honest, because that guy's. I mean, he's a great shot blocker. Yes, it looks very good what he did against the Nets. But if we're going against somebody like Giannis or Embiid, like he's gonna get in foul trouble.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be real, and he can't really rebound like Moses Brown at all.
Yeah. And that's just kind of the reality that we're dealing with right now when it comes to the Celtics. So at this point, it's just a hope and pray. Hopefully everyone is going to be healthy for us this coming year, and we can hopefully get the best out of all our players as we kind of prepare for at least a 7th seed, maybe first round exit. In my opinion, I think it's going to be a first round exit, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see as
but
the season
we got to see,
on.
man, because you never know. There could be some guys on the move. I think AD might request a trade.
Nah, man, that team is gonna win the championship. I'm sorry.
Oh
man.
no! Oh no! What they got in that locker room with Russell Westbrook and Alpha Male and LeBron Alpha Male, he's gonna be the punching bag. Mark my words. Remember I said this too. He's gonna be the punching bag. Then you're gonna start seeing reports. AD is unhappy with his role. Just remember I said this. I just don't think he's. I just don't think he's gonna be there, man. Like, I'm just looking at it now, like him, Westbrook and LeBron been taking a lot of pictures, and it's like, where's AD? You know? And that's a red. I look at things like that, especially with LeBron James, because he kind of has like that new friend,
mm-hmm.
and it seems like he's forgot about AD. I don't see AD out. I didn't even see AD with him at the summer league. It was just him and Westbrook and LeBron working out. That's a red flag to me. I wouldn't be shocked if Anthony Davis is unhappy.
Yeah. Yes, sir, Tyrese.
In a few months.
Let's see, your Tar Heel Nation. Yes, sir, Tyrese. AD requesting a trade in December. LeMickey will never win another ring. KD to the Bulls. All right, Tar Heel Nation. I agree with my boy Pete, man. You're going too far with some of this LeMickey stuff. But nevertheless, I don't think that's going to happen. But we can talk about another team that could potentially get a little more spicier now that he signed his full extension. That's, of course, Joel Embiid agreeing to a 4-year, $196 million extension. As I can continue to read here, Joel Embiid and the 76ers have agreed to a 4-year, $196 million Supermax extension. This deal will be fully guaranteed and contains a player option for the 26-27 season. God damn, that feels so far away, but yet it's really close.
I know, 2026. Wow.
His extension will begin in 2023, 2024, and is based on the projected $124.95 million salary cap for that season. Embiid represented himself for his negotiations, so shout out to Joel Embiid for being his own agent, able to kind of advocate for himself. You know, I think a lot of players might get finessed in this situation and might get a little bit less than the Supermax, but when you're Joel Embiid's caliber, it's a lot easier. My only concern, and of course, you know, this is what comes with the contract, is that, you know, he signed a deal back in 2017, and the deal had protections in case of catastrophic injury to his lower back or feet. And I just think that reoccurring theme for a guy like Joel Embiid is going to rear its ugly head once again. You know, my biggest concern for the 76ers is really just a healthy Joel Embiid. You know, he hasn't really had a full season, at least to my knowledge at this point, where he's been fully healthy, able to go more than just the 82 or, you know, at least, you know, 70 something games while playing a lot of playoff games. Like, I have yet to see that from Joel Embiid. And it really concerns me because now the 76ers are going to try and rebuild, you know, try to get rid of, you know, Ben Simmons. I think Ben Simmons at this point, I think the sort of relationship is unrepairable at this point. And so to me, as I kind of continue to monitor the situation, to kind of continue to talk, I'm concerned, man, that, well, I shouldn't be concerned because they're kind of one of our rivals. But, you know, as a 76ers fan, I would be concerned because right now, you know, you did sign Joel Embiid to this contract extension. But after that, what else do you have? You know, you have Tobias Harris,
well,
who hasn't really proven it.
They have to sell tickets, so it's like, you know, because he was a free agent next year, right?
Maybe.
Because if he was a free agent next year and Ben Simmons is there and they can't trade him and it's another letdown season, he walks for nothing. So it's like you got to lock him up so that way you
Yeah.
can at least trade him possibly if he's unhappy. So I understand that point of view. And plus, too, if everything burns down, at least you have somebody who can sell tickets in Philly. Because if Joel Embiid leaves and Ben Simmons gone, who you got? So I think that was just more of a, company, organization, something for the fundamentals, like as far as selling tickets. I think he deserves that money. I mean, health. I mean, shit. You could say that about LeBron. You could say that about Kawhi. They still got paid. I mean, that's just a part of the game. I mean, not every player is going to be durability like LeBron. Who can just run for 15 years and never get hurt. I mean, look at all these players. Giannis was hurt in the playoffs. Who knew when he was going to get back? KD got hurt with the Warriors and he was out. He still got a max. I mean, it's like, I understand what you're saying, but it's just like they had no other choice, from a risk management standpoint, and to sell tickets, they had to do that. It was only right, in my opinion.
I mean, obviously they had to, because I mean, if you're obviously you're thinking about trading Ben Simmons, you have to have at least one superstar there. There obviously has to be a Joel Embiid. My only concern though about it is that, yes, you are, you do have to pay him, but I'm also concerned about the injuries, man. Like, this isn't like a normal, like, at least Jokic can be out there all the time while he's not like flagrantly fouling people. And you have a lot of other guys that can be on the court for long periods of times, where it's like guys like Joel Embiid, this has been like a reoccurring theme for him, just like it is Anthony Davis. Yeah. Obviously, I think the bubble year was a little different for those guys. That being, of course,
Did he get hurt in the playoffs last year? I mean, this following season?
Season? Yeah, he had a little bit of an injury. I mean, we can kind of look at Joel Embiid's injury history.
Yeah, let's look at that. Because, I mean, he's one of the best centers, but they just did it from a risk management. They didn't want him to be unhappy come next year if he was a free agent and he leaves and they have nothing. He walks for nothing. So it was just a risk management. And two, just to sell tickets.
Yeah, we
because
can talk.
Who knows? They could be in the lottery next year for all we know, with Ben being traded. Who knows what assets they get for Ben? So,
yeah, I mean, we can go back to questionable on Game 3. The 76ers have listed him as questionable for Game 3 against the Hawks. We talked about those type of things. There was kind of issues about kind of the team injury reports. There's a lot of concern about, like, for example, if I can go to this list down here, let's see here, 76ers. Not sure if it's gonna have.
And they gave Tobias Harris a boatload of money as well. Didn't they? Didn't they give him like $160 million or something like that?
They gave him a lot of money. They also gave Ben Simmons a lot of money. So at this point, it's like now you're hedging your bets on all those three guys. The problem is now Ben Simmons is basically untradeable at this point.
Untradeable. He's untradeable.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's like, what are you going to offer? I mean, like you don't need to get. You're not going to be able to get Damian Lillard back. You're not going to be able to get these superstars back. For as much as Ben, we can talk about Ben Simmons being a star player. There's obviously the talks for Ben Simmons where it's like they're looking for a James Harden like deal for Ben Simmons. That's not going to happen, in my opinion. They don't really have the leverage at this point. The 76ers do. They can just wait it out. Ben Simmons is still going to be a young player by the time the contract's over with.
What I was thinking? I was thinking of that Sacramento scenario you were drawing up. I think it was 3 weeks ago for De'Aaron Fox. I think that would be a very good trade.
I think they're gonna.
I think just from a fan. Yeah, and I think just from a Sacramento perspective, I think Ben would be something, that's ring bells as far as popularity, dating Kardashians. It would kind of fill some seats, you know what I'm saying? Sell a lot of jerseys and tickets. They still might be the same, but I think sales will go up. And it's, it's the Kings. They haven't had a so-called superstar or a big free agent or a big trade in who knows however long.
Honestly, since like Jason Williams and Chris Webber and those guys,
Webber,
Peja Stojakovic, like that's the last time I think the Kings have been really that kind of well praised or even just kind of in a contention for the playoffs. And I agree with you, Tyrese. I just think that just makes a lot of sense. With Ben Simmons kind of being in the situation where he has cut communications with everybody. He obviously wants to be traded. He's having Rich Paul kind of do all the dirty work for him. In terms of talking to the team, talking to management,
and he can't be there come the start of the season. Fans are looking at that. Because in Philly, they talk on the radio station. Like, I have family in Philly, and they were just they don't like him there, man. They were on the radio saying he needs to go, and you've seen all the videos on Bleacher Report. Like, he can't be there start the season. They have to move him, whether that's a loss or a gain, but he has to go. He can't be there, because if he's there, oh man, they're gonna boo him every game.
Yeah, and I do feel for a guy like Embiid, just from this point on, is that like, he was there during the process where they were trying to get better. They were trying to become like this sort of, a team that became, last to first and just kind of become kind of a powerhouse in the NBA. And they have kind of done it to some extent, but at the same time, you're looking at a situation, you're looking at a whole ordeal when it comes to a guy like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. And it's just, I always kind of felt from the beginning that this relationship was going to be a little bit imbalanced, just due to the fact that I think it's going to end up just like a KD Curry situation, where it's like one guy's going to want the sort of, maybe not the spotlight, but in terms of like, the number one guy, the guy that was drafted there. Both the guys were drafted there, but like, I feel like a lot of fans kind of cling on to Embiid more, just due to the fact of his personality, the way that he is with the fans, the way that he trolls a lot of the other organizations, whereas Ben Simmons is more of the quiet type, kind of plays video games, kind of does his own thing, and kind of hangs out, like I said, Kardashians, kind of likes the glam life, but the chill glam life, where he's not really talking.
Chill glam life, like where it's low key, but you know when you see him, because he's with a Jenner or he's with somebody famous. But another team I was thinking of is the Warriors. They say they're very willing to keep James Wiseman, but that ACL, he's not, and plus he's 7'1", big bone. I not big bone, but he's a big guy. I just think that wouldn't be a bad trade either. It's trading James Wiseman for Ben Simmons and maybe Wiggins.
I think that you should trade away your assets along with Ben Simmons, or like along with James Wiseman and Wiggins, or what, maybe just James Wiseman, Kuminga, and Moody. And trade to the 76ers, man. I just think that it doesn't make any sense.
With the salary match, though?
They would probably...
because they would have to include Wiggins, because they're already over the luxury tax.
Yeah, but I mean, they just have to do it, man, because to me, it's like, you're not going to get... Ben Simmons is already, like, at this point of his career, like, at the point where he's going to be as good as he is. Whereas, like, Moses Moody, James Wiseman, Kuminga, those guys are going to take a couple years. They're only 19, 20 years old. They're going to need like 4 or 5 more years before they're even fully developed to even get to the point of getting to a championship. We had to see this with a lot of different teams. There's a reason why LeBron doesn't take young guys on his roster. There's a reason why, the Warriors weren't good until they fully developed, Curry and Clay and Draymond. And to me, it's like, why not take a chance on a guy with Ben Simmons and just make him the next Draymond Green for you guys? Instead, they're kind of playing this like long waiting game where it's like, Curry did sign that extension, but how patient is Curry going to be when you're not winning games, or you're basically kind of like at that, 5th or 6th seed, not really contending for a playoffs?
Yeah, that's true. I agree. I just have a feeling, man. I think the Warriors might make a move for him. Just because Curry, how those little injuries were kind of scarcity. But the only thing is they would have to trade Wiggins, because they're not going to take that risk of burning through, additionally $80 million, because the salaries wouldn't match for Ben Simmons. I don't think they have that much confidence to where it's like, we're already in the luxury tax, we'll take on the $80 burn. Like, no, they're gonna want, to align up with the contract. So I think they're gonna move Wiggins. I think he just doesn't fit with Clay coming back and Iguodala back, and the surges of what's his name, Claypool, or not Claypool, Jordan Poole. No, Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
So I think Ben Simmons just makes good sense from like a backup point guard perspective, and a security blanket for Curry, just in case if he gets hurt, because he does get a lot of ankle injuries and he's only getting older. So.
Yeah. I mean, I get that too. Target Nation, you said Jaylen Brown for Ben Simmons, Maxey, and Paul Reed. Hell no.
Oh no. Yeah. I would literally fly to Boston and lay a letter on the ground saying, "What the hell are you doing, Wick? Like, what No way. No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, and I just don't think that just make any sense for us. We're kind of in a position where I'd rather hold on to a guy like Jaylen Brown. Ben Simmons doesn't really do anything for us. Like, yeah, maybe Tatum can score more points, but he's not adding anything to the offense. And I just don't want a guy that's not going to be able to take that shot, man. Like, I'm not saying that he needs to be like the best 3-point shooter in the world, but won't take the shot. And then when he has an opportunity to clear dunk it, he passes it out, and then it just creates a whole fiasco and a storyline where now they're kind of like the laughing stock of the NBA at this point. But
yeah, the only team I could see him going to, man, is realistically right now is the Sacramento Kings. If he wants to go to a California team, I think the Kings make a lot of sense. They can do a swap for De'Aaron Fox. I think they extended De'Aaron Fox too. Am I correct? Yeah, so the money would match, and he would be out in California. It wouldn't be LA, but hey, it's only what 3-hour drive or 4-hour, 3.5-hour drive. So he can take his jet and go up there. Yeah.
He can take a private plane and call it good.
So yeah, I think the Kings make a lot of sense. But I mean, De'Aaron Fox is looking very good, man. That guy, he's young, he's younger, and he looks way more promising. So we'll see. Yeah. But I mean, if he does get moved, I think it's to the Kings or the Warriors.
Yeah. So. And we'll find out. Like I said, it's going to be an interesting situation to kind of monitor with Ben Simmons, like what team is going to want him, and what teams are going to be interested in his services.
Yeah.
But to kind of end today's stream, we're going to have one more story to talk about, and I just kind of want to talk about it just because it's some petty drama. We've got, the season schedule just got released. We obviously talked about, Nets and Lakers on Christmas Day. I believe the Lakers are also playing the Golden State Warriors on the opening day. And there's a lot of kind of news and rumors in that aspect. But I did kind of want to talk about this because I felt like this was like the dumbest thing that Bleacher Report has ever done.
Why is that?
And that's, of course, this kind of Christmas Day, I would say, kind of picture that they drew up or kind of like kind of photoshopped. So they have Kyrie Irving, Harden, Durant, and Patty Mills on one side. And then on the other side, they had LeBron, Carmelo, and AD, while forgetting to put Westbrook. And, of course, at the end of it, they kind of added Westbrook, who you got, at the bottom. And I just think that was just done just due to the fact that a lot of Lakers fans and really just fans of LeBron were just upset with the fact that they forgot about Westbrook in this picture. To me, it's some petty drama. And the reason why I want to talk about it is just because, like, you got a guy in Westbrook who's been a multiple-time All-Star, who's been a multiple-time All-NBA type of player. But instead of having him added there, they decide to add Patty Mills, who obviously NBA champion, not taking anything away from him. But in terms of success in their career, I felt like Russell Westbrook has kind of earned the right to kind of be in this picture, where I feel like Patty Mills does not.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. They put Carmelo Anthony. The only reason why they did that is because it's LeBron's friend. But I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be some drama in LA, man. I just have a feeling. I just think AD is gonna be the punching bag. I just have this feeling, man. I just have this feeling. LeBron and him are just gonna get fed up with his foolish plays, him getting injured. You seen how LeBron looked when AD was injured? It looked like he just wanted to kill. He was like, are you serious right now? Like, when we really need you, you're out. Like, I think LeBron's done with his injuries. He was injury prone before he even came. So, I think they're going to try to get some value for him because, while they still can, because the more injury he gets, who knows what else can happen to him. I mean, the guy, he's injury prone as it can get. So it's like, if he tears an ACL, he's done. He's going to be another DeMarcus Cousins. So it's like, you got to try to move him for some assets while his stock's not extremely high, but it's not extremely low. It's like a tier above the median level, So I wouldn't be shocked if they move him, especially if they're cruising. If they're cruising, like and Westbrook and LeBron are looking like MVP level candidates, and AD's just like floating around 20, maybe like 8 boards, like they're going to trade him.
Tar Heel Nation said, Tar Heel Nation, you said the shouting matches between Braun and Westbrook will be amazing.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I think they're going to get along very well. I think AD's the lone wolf out because AD he's not very much vocal and like out like pumped up and you know because
Yeah.
those two they're from the hood, man. Like AD he grew up in you know um not the hood. He
Yeah.
went
The
to a
suburbs,
private school. Yeah, the suburbs. So it's like
the
they have a
burbs.
lot aligned already, Westbrook and LeBron. So I'm curious how it's gonna be. We'll see though.
Yeah, I think for me, like what I noticed for guys like I think AD is not going to get traded. I think he's too talented to get traded. And I think the reason why they brought in Melo, why they brought in Westbrook, is so that because I think LeBron kind of realizes that AD is not going to be the guy that's going to be the MVP, the projected MVP. When
Oh
he's
no.
healthy, I think Anthony Davis could be. But again, it's kind of the same thing with Embiid. Like, when is that going to happen? And so I think that's the reason why they brought in Westbrook, why they brought in Melo, is so that way they can take the stress off of both those guys, and that way they can help out in that aspect, right? So Westbrook can do the scoring and the rebounding and the assisting. He's a triple double machine. Melo can help a lot with the scoring, and that way, like when LeBron and AD are resting, the lead is still safe. Like the lead is still at a point where it's like when those two guys can come back in, it's going to be perfect. And I think that's kind of the reason why they decided to go with this Lavengers type of team. And to me, like I do think that this is going to work out. Maybe me and my boy Pete will talk about it on Thursday, and just
Okay.
kind of more so with our tier list and the reason why I think it's going to work a lot more. But it's kind of like a sneak peek to that. I just think that there's going to be a lot of chemistry, unity with all those guys. LeBron and
Really?
Westbrook are already working out together. They're already, doing things together to get themselves ready for the NBA season. I think with Westbrook, it's like you kind of have to listen to him. He's almost kind of like Marcus Smart in the sense where it's like he'll march to the beat of his own drum, but if you can align your drum along with his, then I think you guys could be in a recipe for success. Where I feel like maybe this is also LeBron trying to prove to KD, like, hey, man, you got a generational talent with you in Oklahoma City, and you drop that
Hmm.
for the Golden State Warriors. And I definitely can see that also playing as a role um, in in this sort of, I would say, like telenovela type of rivalry between LeBron and AD and Westbrook and Melo versus KD versus Kyrie and James Harden.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, they do align very well, Westbrook and LeBron. Like I say again, the only lone guy out is AD.
Mm-hmm.
He's just not like them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man. I'm not as bullish on AD how a lot of people are, man. Like I, I mean he's a good talent. Like he's a good power
Mm-hmm.
forward, but he's not like how he was with New Orleans in like 2015, 2016, 2017. Like
Mm-hmm.
it seems like he's gonna be going down that DeMarcus Cousins path really soon, just due to injuries.
Yeah.
And his durability is just not there. Like it's not in his control, but it's like if I'm the Lakers, if I'm Genie, like yeah, you won us a championship, but it's not like you've been with us for 10 plus years, and you've been a key role player. Like
Yeah.
I gotta move you for some assets, man, because LeBron's getting old. Westbrook's already what 32. LeBron's 36. You're
Mm-hmm.
injury prone. I gotta move you, and I think it's gonna come down to that before the playoffs
See,
because I think he's gonna go ahead.
no, I was gonna say my only thing with that, and we'll kind of, I'll have you have the closing arguments before we kind of sign out of here. My
Okay.
only thing with that is that I think Jeannie Buss knows that basically she's hitching her wagon, just like she did with Kobe Bryant and Paul Gasol when we were having that rivalry between us, the Celtics, and them. Is the same kind of position that the Lakers are in right now. Is that they're hitching their wagon on LeBron James. They're saying, all right, LeBron, we're going to build the team around you. Whatever you want, we'll do to the best of our ability. And I just think that that's kind of what we're getting right now with the team like the Lakers. As much as I would agree with you that you want it to be a situation where like you can peacefully kind of regress the team and kind of build for the future once again. Once guys like LeBron and AD and Melo and Westbrook and Howard now retire, to me, like this is I think that this is where we're at, where it's like it's that sort of situation where we're probably gonna get that Lakers team that had Jordan Clarkson and Kobe Bryant and kind of the laughable meme crew towards the tail end of Kobe Bryant's career, which I feel like we're going to kind of get with this sort of situation.
Yeah, and I think this comparison isn't good to compare it to Kobe Bryant just because LeBron James is going to be 37 years old. I mean, the guy's injury prone now in this stage in his career. I mean, the last 2 years he's been getting injured. I mean, he's not the same as he was in year 15. Like, this guy's injury prone as well. Like, from hamstring to groin, like he's wearing down and it's starting to show. I think Jeannie Buss needs to like stop drinking the Kool-Aid and really go to a risk management standpoint now. because because I mean, this guy's injured, he's old. He's about to be 37 in 4 months. Anthony Davis, you don't know about him. Westbrook, I mean, he might stay there. He could sell you some tickets, but LeBron, realistically, he only has like a year and a half left in his prime, potentially 2 years left in a prime LeBron.
I still think he's got 3. I know that's kind of crazy to talk about,
but it's creeping up though. He's about to be 37 years old in 4 months.
Yeah, but I think like we talked about though, you have AD who is still I believe younger than 30, so he's still fine. I know he's injury prone.
Oh yeah.
But you also have Westbrook, who's still a young, he's like only 30, 31, 32. It's not like he's an old player.
Oh no, he's not an old player. I'm just saying, like, they can't compare this to the Kobe Bryant. She can't compare this to the Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol with AD because both these guys are injury prone. One's already at the end of his career and the other guy's young, but it's his trajectory as far as health is looking like it's damn near to that in the middle or a little bit above the middle. Yeah. So it's like you can't be just so like drinking the Kool-Aid like, no, I can't trade him, like, because sooner or later AD's gonna have, sorry to say, the trajectory how it's going, he's gonna get a bigger injury to where he's gonna be, you can't get the assets you wanted for him at one point.
Yeah, my only thing though is that, like, there's a reason why they brought in Westbrook and they brought in Melo and those guys. I know that Melo is kind of at his tail end as well, but the reason why they brought those guys is so that they can ease up on like LeBron James having to go 100% all the time. Why AD can go 100% all the time. Like there's a reason why they brought in a lot of these guys that are on 1-year contracts or in a couple-year contracts, is because they're trying to make sure that they're gonna ease up on the usage rate for those two guys, because they are showing, especially AD as kind of injury prone as he is, as much as I talk about it with Joel Embiid, I have to talk about it with AD. It's like the same sort of situation where, these guys are going to start to, there's a reason why they brought in these other guys, because they want to mitigate those injuries. They want to lessen the load, lessen the usage rate, so we can actually get these guys on the court by the time April comes around for the playoffs.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand what you're saying, but it's like, I mean, the guys they picked up, I mean, Melo, he's, like you said, he's already at the tail end, and Melo sometimes he might shoot. He's like a Marcus Smart. Like he's not the same Melo anymore. And then who else did they get? Didn't they get Devontae Graham?
They got Devontae Graham, who's a nice little pickup for them. They got
that's a nice little pickup.
Wayne Ellington. I mean, we can take a look at their roster and then we'll kind of cut it.
Yeah, because I mean, and then Westbrook's a point guard. He's ball dominant, and it's not like he makes your team better from a point guard perspective. It's not like he's a Chris Paul or a Kyle Lowry. Like, to be honest, he's more of a stat patter because it's like he's just trying to get his and go. Like, he's always been that type of player, like highlight, dunk reel, but he's not going to show up in the analytics department diving on the floor. Like, he's not going to be doing all that. So that's why I'm saying, like, a lot of people are hyping up that move a little bit too much, in my opinion. Like, if they had a Chris Paul or a Kyle Lowry, like, okay, yeah, like, I would feel more greater about that. But you got three ball dominant guys. It's not like Westbrook can score like James Harden or Kyrie Irving to where, they can get buckets. It's like they really have to hold the ball, get to the rack, they really got to try to get to their spot and heat up. Like, it's different than the Nets, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of their team right now. So they have Westbrook, Kendrick Nunn, Malik Monk, Wesley Matthews, who I think that they should trade. LeBron James, Dwight Howard, Taylor Horton Tucker, Marc Gasol, Wayne Ellington, Jared Dudley, Anthony Davis, Devontae Cook, Kent Bazemore, Trevor Ariza, Carmelo Anthony, Costas Antetokounmpo. Plus, they're
Oh yeah, they're stacked. They're stacked on the bench side. It's just see, it all starts with the first unit. The tone starts with the first unit. So, I just don't like that Westbrook pick. Personally, I just don't like it. I think it's not gonna fit well for AD at least. Now, if it was a Kyle Lowry or a Chris Paul, it would have been French kiss. But with a ball dominant guy who's trying to steal rebounds, I'm telling you, like he's gonna be stealing rebounds from AD. AD is gonna be looking like, what the hell? Just because he wants his triple double,
Yeah, but I mean, also, at this point in his career, we'll see what matters to Westbrook more, because this could also be a situation where Westbrook kind of realizes, like, okay, this is kind of the tail end of my career, or maybe not the tail end. It's kind of, we're starting to get to that climax, or like, the descending of the climax with Westbrook, and I think he's going to realize, sooner rather than later that, look, you can get all the triple doubles you want. We talk about it all the time. I think we've kind of put this unfair critique on NBA players that they have to win a championship, that the championship is the end all be all for a player. It doesn't matter what stats you have. It doesn't matter how you did in the playoffs. You could be, a triple double machine like Russell Westbrook, but no one's going to remember Russell Westbrook until he wins a championship. Sadly,
oh,
that's
no,
the case.
I disagree. Back-to-back MVP. He's a two-time MVP, triple-double guy, king, as they say. He's always going to be looked at as one of the greatest of all time. He's for sure going to be in that top 50 category. If he was to retire right now, he's going to be in the top 50. He's ahead of Charles Barkley. Let's just say that. Like, let's not get it twisted. Like, it's Russell Westbrook. He's averaged the most triple-doubles, two-time MVP.
Mm-hmm.
He's stamped. But I think he's just not gonna take a back seat, man. Like, this has always been his play. Like, you're telling somebody who's been doing this for 14 years, Russell Westbrook, the superstar, to switch up. He would have done it already. If he really wanted a championship that bad, he would have went to a team that he would have went earlier with LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? He would have went with Kawhi Leonard. He would have went somewhere to win.
Well,
he wasn't worried about winning.
To be fair, he was trying to team up with Kawhi. And obviously Kawhi went a different direction. So I think he has been in that kind of mindset now that he wants to win a championship. And
he just wanted to be in LA. That's it. That's all. He just wanted to be in LA, man. Because if he really wanted to win a championship, he would have went 2 years ago before he signed that extension. He signed that extension with Oklahoma City, and there was nobody there who was on that team that can really take them to the next level. He doesn't care about a championship. The only reason why is because he's playing with house money. He gets to go to LA where he's from. He gets to make more money on endorsement deals, and plus he's playing with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. This is the best Christmas present the Wizards could have gave him. But is he going to change up his role play? I wouldn't bet money on it. I wouldn't bet money on it. He's still going to be jocking those rebounds. He's still going to be trying to get his and get the interview after the game.
And I think that's what the Lakers need, though. The Lakers need that because, like I talked about, LeBron James isn't the same LeBron James as year 15, year 16. This is like year 18 LeBron. LeBron can't do that stuff anymore. So having a guy like Russell Westbrook can do that for you, I think that's a great move, man. I know that you talk about, kind of stealing it from Anthony Davis, but, we talked about it. Anthony Davis is a number one. Like, he's a number two, and that's kind of like what he'll be his whole career. And I just think that with that being the case, I just see this kind of working out well for Westbrook and the rest of the Lakers organization because at this point, Westbrook is on a man on a mission. Like, as much as we, we can talk about guys like, LeBron and all that stuff, but I just think that this is what the Lakers need at this point. A guy that can create opportunities for himself, create opportunities for others. Because a lot of these guys that they have on the team, they're not going to be, off the dribble type of guys. Not going to be guys that create plays for other teammates. Whereas, he's basically going to be like another type of LeBron James-esque type of player to help out in that aspect.
Yeah, like I say, man, I just think he wanted to. He's kind of like he was on his Ben Simmons stuff, man. Like, he wanted to go to a LA team, whether that's with Kawhi, with the Clippers, or the Lakers. If he really wanted to win a championship and he was really chasing, he would have tried to demand a trade to the Warriors, or he would have tried to demand a trade to, I don't know, the Heat when the Heat were trying to get him, or there was rumors like he could have been when. I think it was just house money. He's out in LA. He's playing with LeBron. He's playing with AD. But as far as him taking a back seat and not getting his rebounds and just getting like 27 and like 5, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens.
I personally think so.
We'll see what happens, but let us know in the comment section, what do you guys think of this whole situation? Do you guys think that we'll get the best out of Russell Westbrook in LA, or do you think that Russell Westbrook will kind of overshadow guys like Anthony Davis and LeBron James? Let us know in the comment section down below. But with that being said, that is going to do it for today's show. Thank you, Tyrese, once again for joining us here on The Charge.
Yeah, no problem.
Hopefully you guys are going to have a great rest of your Tuesday afternoon. We'll be back on Thursday. Me and my boy Pete will be back around, I would believe, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you guys are interested in our S-tier list of NBA teams this coming season and also coaches, we will have that for you guys on Thursday. So be on the lookout for that episode of The Charge. And again, like I said, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you are interested in NBA content. We had a huge debate over the Boston Celtics just earlier, me and my boy Tyrese. And then we also talked about, the Lakers and what they can do for this upcoming season. I'm more in the alignment that I think they're going to do well. Tyrese doesn't think so. So let us know in the comment section who's right, who's wrong. And also, what do you guys think of the Lakers' future coming up this season? But nevertheless, we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe. And remember, guys, that there is a link to the merchandise if you are interested in buying merch. And also, if you guys are interested in donating to the channel, the donation link is also there as well. I'll post it again so you guys can see it. But with that being said, thank you once again for joining us here. Please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe. Remember to check out the merchandise and the donation link if you are interested. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.